So today we've got Samuel Vest on our Atelier talk. How are you doing, man?
I am so excited to be here to see you, Nathan, to be part of this talk. I can only imagine where we're going to go in the verbal rainbow road of talk in this time.
Dude, Rainbow Road. I'm looking, dude, you dyed your hair?
I dyed my hair.
Yeah.
That was a quarantine project, and I'm quite fond of the results.
Yes. Yeah. And with the pink, dude, you got a lot of the rainbow going right now. I'm loving it.
I do. I have just about every color represented except for green in this frame. Got to
Mm,
get some green in here.
yeah. I think you have cheetah too. Or is it leopard? Hey.
Because that's the ninth color of the rainbow.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, dude, I'm gonna let you go, man. Let's
Okay,
hear some of
cool.
this flute.
So just let me know if you can hear this music. Give me the thumbs up. If you don't hear music,
Yeah, I can hear it. I hear the reverb and music.
it will pick it up a bit.
Hey.
That's a good intro for now.
Yes, dude. Yes. Now we're there.
We're there.
We're there
Ooh, let's turn off my reverb. I don't need that anymore.
instantly.
Not for a little bit. There is one other I want to perform, which is not. It's actually a more musical piece. My
Hmm.
latest musical composition, which I would love to share with you, and I feel like it's a good topic you might relate to, and I'd be terribly curious to pick your brain. It's a
Hmm.
I just finished composing it yesterday,
Uh,
actually. And it's a song called When Your Heart Is Ready.
yeah.
And it's about, it's basically my experience of online dating.
Uh,
And I, I feel like the way I experience the world, nothing makes sense, and especially when it comes to the world of romance.
hmm,
And so, in order for me to cope and understand my feelings,
yeah.
I feel like putting my experience into a song helps materialize my thoughts and help me form an opinion,
Hmm,
and cope with the stress and the pain of rejection and expectations not being met. So
yeah.
anyway, that, if we're interested, that's for later.
Oh,
But
sure.
it's your show, and I just, I'm a sucker for the limelight, as you know. I just try to steal the show whenever I can.
Oh, that's why you're on here, man.
Oh, great. Oh,
I
thank
just wait, dude. I just wait for those people that are just born to just have something ready, that just have something ready to go. They're already so excited and so motivated about something. And if the world gives us something else, or if something else happens, it's all good. But I know, Sam, you've got something for me. I know it. That flute thing was cool, man. So tell
like
me,
that.
yeah, I know you bought a couple flutes from my pal, from our pal Eric the flute maker.
Our pal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. So are those flutes from him?
Let's see. Which ones did I play for you? Um, Both of those are actually high spirit flutes. High
Mm,
spirit is like, they're probably the most popular flute brand
mm,
in the world.
yeah.
And so both of those were from them. That first one is this is the Condor bass. This is my most expensive flute I own. It's
You,
very deep. It's the key of D.
mm,
I've always wanted a low flute, and I actually got a lower flute of theirs. It was the contrabass, and that was just, it
mm.
didn't sound good. Flutes like this, they really can't go too terribly low. And so they let me exchange it for this one, and this Condor bass, absolutely love, just that rich.
Right there.
And it's gorgeous. I mean, these things are so beautiful with their animal carvings and so
Mm,
smooth. And the other one, this was really exciting. I bought this one, another high spirits. I bought it from a man at the Renaissance Fair.
mm,
There is a guy. Gosh, I'm trying to remember his name. Maybe he'll come to me. It's not Eric. It's like it's Bob or something. But anyways, he's the guy who always plays at the local Renaissance Fair.
mm.
Local being also can't, somewhere in Colorado. Oh, Irwindale, California. That Renaissance Fair that happens. And there's always a guy playing there. He's got this super cool, like, it's like this mask that covers his eyes, and it's got like
Yeah.
these ear antlers coming off the sides. And
Yeah.
he looks like a forest elf.
Uh-huh.
And he just plays his flutes all day long
Wow.
at his booth. And I approached him, and he let me, he sells some of these flutes, and
Yeah.
he let me demo a couple, and he let me demo this one.
Mm,
This is F sharp.
mm.
And he put he had a little reverb microphone, a little lavalier tied to his wrist,
Oh,
and he just held it up to the end, to the where the air escapes,
yeah.
and all of a sudden my plane was filling,
Mm.
100 feet of the Renaissance Fair. And that was a great selling tactic, because these really helps to be experienced in a large space where it just fills and reverberates.
Mm.
So this is probably, if like I ever am going traveling, this is definitely one of the ones I always bring. The F sharp is just such a classic sound. You can also play like the Hobbit theme. You know, that one from
Yeah,
Lord of the
of
Rings.
course.
So, but I have 12 of these things
Wow.
sitting behind me. I just got a rack, dude, on Etsy. I paid this guy like $100 to build me this flute rack, and it's
Yeah.
awesome because I can literally just stand them up like this,
So
and there's no better like break in
yeah.
your day to just walk by, pick up a flute, toot out a couple notes,
Hmm.
several, sample a couple, you can never just play one flute. The whole reason why we have so many is because it's a very easy instrument to play, in that you really can't play a wrong note. They're all on pentatonic scales, and so in that regard they're very limited in like what they can play, but that also makes them so much fun because you don't have to spend, the way you can play piano or guitar just takes countless hours in regular practice.
Hmm.
And I have never had that patience, so that's why I've gravitated so much towards the Native American flutes, because I can just got you. It's kind of like hitting a drum. It just depends on how hard you hit the thing.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And learning the combinations of notes to learn different songs and things like that.
Hmm.
Well, it sounds like you spent some time like figuring out some melodies that you like and everything.
Oh,
Everything you
sure.
started with was original, right?
Everything, yeah, it's all original.
Yeah.
I'm not-
So cool.
I'm all about the original stuff. I don't typically. I don't know. I've just always enjoyed singing my own songs and composing original things, and I don't do many covers. Whenever I do music, I always prefer make something new personally. But that
Mm.
doesn't mean I don't like covers. It's just like, yeah, with these flutes and just with my own music, I just have so much that I feel like I want to say, to tell my own experience, that I don't feel the need to do covers.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I feel that too. Man, it's tough though, because I'll get asked to, like the band will get asked to do covers and stuff, and it's kind of it's a tough thing because we're just like we're so excited about exploring just instruments and music and finding cool combinations of things, and they all remind us of what other people play, and we of course love to listen to music too, um, but I don't know, I think right, and it's just the season of time, we're just so excited about like the things that we're finding, that we just want to share those things so badly as well.
Oh my gosh,
It's
so
been
much.
original music for a while for us.
What was that?
It's been original music for a while for us just because of that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys have been putting out. You're crazy productive. You guys have been killing it.
Mm.
It's so inspiring seeing your journey. That's why I hang out with you.
Dude, I love your comics. I somehow missed your Instagram with your comics on it, dude. I don't know how I missed that, but
Yeah,
dude,
there's
fun,
a.
man.
Was there a particular one you liked?
Oh, I saw all of them. Oh
So
man. I mean, I saw the impeachment one. That was really funny.
that was my mom's idea. She'd always wanted me to do political cartoons to try and promote my art, and that's because I've always been. It's like the hardest thing for me as an artist to like market my skills, and it's a necessary part of being an artist. Like, if you want to turn it into a career, then you have to market, and you just have to get an audience and clients.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, I mean, pretty much every time, people will do covers of music if they're musicians, or if they're artists, they will draw what's popular. Say they'll draw popular film characters, video game characters, political comics, because they're basically drawing things that are relevant in culture currently, and so those are things that people are searching. And so you're capitalizing off what is the current interests of the public,
Mm.
with the hope that they will search through searches and hashtags. They will find the content you're generating, and then hopefully down the line they'll be like, wow, I really like this artist, what else do they do? Oh my gosh, they have original content.
Yes. It seemed like that happened with the one that you made about the coronavirus.
So,
Thing blew up, dude.
you know, I would love to be honest and be like, yeah, it just blew up, but I paid for ads on that.
Uh,
So like, there you go. You pay what? I dropped like $15 and like got 700 likes on it magically. So like, those are not organic likes. Who knows if they are even real people? Um, I've certainly been exploring, paying for ads to see if it can't, actually help me accumulate more audience members. And I think it does. Like, for instance, my last show at Rosebud, my musical, I posted an ad on Facebook, and one of the guys who came was just some dude who saw the Facebook ad. So there you go.
So good. Dude, I saw that you did a live stream of Hole in My Heart.
I did. It was so awesome. Like I've spent half of like months of quarantine learning how to do live stream because
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't have a live performance venue anymore, and so I have to keep performing.
Yep.
And so I started looking into what's the software and equipment you need,
Yeah, man.
and I've just completely dove into it. And even right now, I'm still building up my live stream studio because I'm going to be live streaming as I draw my current graphic novel that I'm working on, which is the book version of Hole in My Heart. And so yeah, I cleared out everything in my living room, pushed everything out, filled it with all my lights, and blacked out, the kitchen area, so it didn't look like a living room.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was actually the most attended performance of my musical because people weren't locked down by the fact that they didn't live in California, or it was just easier to just turn on your computer.
Yeah. And I guess you have a lot of techie people. Because I've known some people that just like they just won't do it. They just won't open their computer to watch a show or whatever, which makes sense to me. It's different. I think it takes a little while.
Yeah, I had to, yeah, because some like my aunt watched it. She's not technically savvy, and I made it as simple as you just click this YouTube link. Like, I just
Um,
posted the link
yeah.
on my Facebook and Instagram, and I sent out emails to people who I thought would need it. And literally, all they had to do was click the link, and then it was live. And as long as they showed up on time,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
nice. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm sure YouTube and Instagram, they're just more familiar. We're trying Twitch now,
Hmm.
which has been super fun, and it's nice to have a platform that's like solely made for live streaming, and
Yeah.
like people aren't going on it to do anything else. So
Right.
it seems very focused. So we've
Yeah.
kind of done a deep dive there the last few weeks, but it's taken a little while to build a community, build a following, but I think it'll get there.
Yeah. What are you doing to develop your streaming community?
Well, Twitch is pretty cool in that sense because you can like when you're done streaming, it's called raid where you take all of the people that are watching you and you send them all to another streamer.
Hmm.
So like we have some musician friends and I'm trying to get like more people that like played our Republic of Pi like on Twitch
Right.
so we can literally just like send all the people that like listening to music to each other,
Yeah.
right? And it's fun. Like the screen blows up right every time you get like a follow or every time someone donates. It just like all this fun stuff happens, and it's totally customizable, right? We're using OBS and all sorts of. It took a little while to set it up, but yeah. So it's fun and the chat's cool. So yeah,
Yeah, the chat's the best part. It's as much as it hurts to not be able to perform live, which I mean, if there's just nothing for people to
yeah,
watch, the live chats is the next best thing, and you can with the always get like a 10-second lag, but it feels live enough when you're interacting with whoever the chat.
yeah. It's incredible, right? Sometimes I get distracted. Like we'll be in the middle of a song, and some dude will like he'll comment. He'll be like last night, some guy was like, um, "You guys look hungry."
Hungry.
you get like some trolls in there because it's Twitch, but I think it's funny, So I just like I almost started laughing like mid song, and then Sam saw it and she started laughing, so it was really funny, man. But
Yeah.
most people are just like, wow, it's nice, and they'll send like fire symbols and like whatever and like hearts and stuff. So
Yeah, I think it's uh it's just a matter of consistency
hmm.
and like researched decision making to build an audience. Like
Hmm.
there's no getting around. You just got to do it, often, regularly, and learning as much as you can. Like I had heard of the raids, and I've never done one myself. I've tried Twitch, and I intend to use Twitch to stream me drawing my graphic novel.
Yeah, okay.
The building an audience for it, I just need to get over like that this is a chore, and it's like this is just part of the job, because ultimately it's the whole idea is to build an audience for the graphic novel.
Yeah.
So yeah, consistency, that's always been super tough, especially if your art or whatever you're streaming is not paying the bills. Like
Hmm.
you have to cover your overhead, and so some weeks, like I'm a freelancer like you, and we never know what our schedule is from day to day. Like a client calls, and next thing you know, you got 2 full like crazy weeks of work, and it's like, how do you? It's like, well, I need this cash.
Yeah. 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 I try and do like I still try and schedule stuff, as hard as it is, I like to have those like one, but not a lot. That's the thing, right? It's either like once a week. Like that's the most I'll do things. It's like once or twice a week.
Mhm.
That seems to help out. Do you ever get into those rhythms where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do this every Monday and spend a couple hours?
You know, I have tried and failed. I am the worst when it comes to committing to an actual schedule.
Yeah.
It's something I've struggled with my entire life, and as much as it stinks, it's like I try. Like for instance, as I'm building out my streaming studio, and now that I do have the time to stream more regularly, I'll probably do like an hour long stream every day, because I'm pretty much gonna be working full time on my graphic novel.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but I think that's great that you do. I mean, I've heard that like it's important to have a set schedule, because it's like watching your favorite show every week. People are tuning. Oh, the Ateliers are streaming every Thursday at 6.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
did I get that time right?
It's 5:30 now, but it was six. Yeah, you got
Was
it. Look at that. You remembered that. That's what you can
Yeah, but
remember.
I'm terrible. I still haven't tuned in, so don't congratulate me.
Oh,
Uh,
what a
I do need to jump in
we'll be
on.
there every Thursday. So whenever
Well, great, there we go. 5:30.
that for you.
That's something people can tune into. And if they're like, you're just streaming at random times, how can how
Mm,
can you expect people? And also considering your audience, what time do they work? Can they watch you at work? Maybe they can't watch you till afterwards.
yeah.
So, is it valuable to just stream constantly? Like, I don't know. Like, I would assume it would behoove you to like pick a time, learn when your audience is available, learn who your audience is available. Maybe streaming at random times can help you find your audience,
Mm,
because you don't know who's going to tune in and when.
yeah. And the beautiful thing about the once a week or twice a week thing is you can still have like unplanned streams, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily stop you. So we could still just be like, we're feeling good. Everyone happens to be in studio. Let's stream,
Right.
right?
Uh-huh.
But then having that like one day a week, I think it gets harder too. Like if it was just me, I would end up streaming randomly all the time. But because now it's like Sam or Brandon,
Yeah.
once a week, right, with three schedules is way harder than once a week with one schedule.
Oof.
Yeah, things start to get, and then we want to bring other people in and all sorts of things. But
Yeah.
yeah,
When wrangling multiple artists,
Woo.
it starts to get a little crazy.
Yeah, dude. So hole in my heart. So people don't know. People don't know. I've seen it, but people don't know. Well, yeah. So tell us about the beginning. I feel like from my perspective, this is like the beginning of your journey. This is like a big start. But I'm sure there were things before this. Maybe you could talk a little bit about this in comparison to just like your artist journey.
Yeah, Hole in My Heart is a multimedia project that I've been working on for, at this point, 3.5 years.
Mm.
It is an autobiographical fantasy story, which charts my life up until the point it premiered on my 30th birthday last year.
Ooh.
Um, it uh, is the longest and most ambitious project I've ever produced. Its current form is a 45-minute one-man musical show, and it tells the story of Eon, who is born and his body glows like a star,
Mm.
which angers the Jack of the Moon, who is this magical villain whose job is nothing can shine brighter than the moon at night. That's his job. And here's this baby who is shining brighter. And so the moon jack, Lunisto, steals his heart. So that's literally just a gaping hole in his chest. And so he can't glow.
Mm.
But he's still alive. He's not dead. Now he just has this, you can literally just stick your hand through it, this hole in his chest where his heart should have been.
Yep.
And it's this coming of age story, this journey as he goes through life looking for all the different things to fill that hole.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like there's like is it three or four maybe almost scenes, like the different things that you've gone through. Did you want to share a bit about that? Or are people maybe should watch the show at this point?
Oh no, I mean, even if I told you then they watch the show, I think it's such a what's the word, like bombarding experience of just like stimulus that you kind of just get caught up on it, which is the point. But as far as the stages go, I can really kind of just summarize the reason why the project started was in, I guess, early 2017. I was going through the most difficult time in my life, and the lyric phrase came to mind, which was, "There's a hole in my heart. Now that's the start of a story I'd like to tell."
Wow. Mm.
And that phrase is what started the snowball rolling, which eventually became this project. And, why did I think of that phrase? Well, I was at the time I was really exploring my mental health that year.
Yeah.
And I've struggled with depression my entire life. And I've always thought that it was not like an actual mental illness. I always thought it was just something I wasn't dealing with in my life.
Mm.
That if I just fixed that aspect of my life, this depression would go away.
Yeah.
Well, I found out I found out in 2017 that that's not the case. For
Mm.
me, it's a legitimate mental biological illness that it's part of me.
Mm.
And it just springs up at times, and it's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah.
And so when I discovered that it was in fact a biological illness, I was very upset. And,
Mm.
I said, "There's a hole in my heart." That was the metaphor for depression. Because that's the feeling.
Yeah.
Uh, when you are depressed, essentially the experience is, well, when I'm depressed, is it's like there's wires in my brain that
Mm.
don't connect. And those are the wires that allow you to think positively and feel good.
Yep.
Those wires are broken. And
Wow.
therefore, what's left is a human who can only think negative thoughts
Mm.
and feel empty. So
Yes.
no matter how much chocolate you eat, no matter how much people love you, no matter how good your life is, those wires aren't connected. So no matter what, you just can't feel good.
Mm.
And I've always believed that we all have our thing,
Yeah.
our we were all born with something. It could be mental illness, it could be a physical illness, it could be like crappy parents,
Yeah.
it could be really overprotective parents, it could be anything with trauma, like you were born without an arm, you were born blind. We all have our thing,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like so much of life's journey is looking at the cards that you were dealt
Mm.
and and saying, what can I do with this hand of cards?
Yeah.
Because there's the victim mentality, which is, I was dealt this horrible deck of cards, I have nothing to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's so easy to get stuck in.
Mm.
And so a lot of my life journey of self-discovery is, how do I take this mental illness I was born with and
Yeah.
thrive
Yeah.
despite having this?
Yeah. Mm.
So the way I've chosen is not looking at this illness as sort of the bane of my existence, but it is in fact my superpower. I mean, it literally is, because I experience things on a whole different level. Well, there are plenty of people who experience depression, and all sorts of mental illness,
Yeah.
and it allows you to experience things in a unique way, in that you can feel the lowest of the low,
Mm.
and you can also alternatively feel the highest of the high, because the way my depression works, it's kind of bipolar in that it's, you have your manic episodes
Mm.
and then you have your depressive episodes.
Mhm.
So you kind of experience life at the extremes.
Yeah.
um, and that's why I like your music, the Atelier, so much, because my experience of your music is it just kind of brings the extremes and grounds it in the middle,
Mm. Mm.
and that allows me to relax.
Mm.
And I feel like you're able to write that music because you have also been at the extremes.
Mhm.
When our life experience, when you experience mania, where it's just blissed out, awesome energy, and also like just end of the world, apocalyptic, like go on another day depression.
Oh my gosh, dude. I talk to myself, dude, now. I talk to myself, like, I guess in both states I talk to myself, but I definitely talk to myself when I'm at the low. Like, I
Uh-huh.
have to. Like, I have to shush my brain. Like, I have to say, shut up. Like, I'll just be walking around and I'm just like, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? No, no. It's crazy, dude. I've had to separate, like, my rational brain from the, like, overwhelming feelings that I get every day.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's been helpful for me, at least in this season of time, because I'm very isolated. I think most of us are more isolated than we were before. And so we're having to deal with our emotions when they come up.
Absolutely. And even what you just did right there, I find fascinating, because you said, I have to tell myself to shut up,
Yeah.
you know? And what is that? That experience is so fascinating to me, because there's two characters in your head now. The rational Nathan and the depressed
Yes.
Nathan. And
Yeah.
one of them's telling the other to shut up. And
Mm.
so what I did in Hole in My Heart is I turned both of those into characters. And the first character that Eon encounters in the circus is what I call the emotional bully.
Mm.
And the emotional bully is the one who says, shut up and just be happy.
Wow.
Just be happy. And that's the name of the song that the clown sings, is be happy, my friends, because he's the clown. It's his job to make you happy.
Yes.
But he's bullying Eon, because Eon is not happy. He isn't. And it's not something you can just force upon someone.
Mm.
And because we all try different methods to feel whole. to
Yes.
feel normal.
Yes.
And, some people try to bully themselves into it. And sometimes that works. Sometimes you can just say, ah, man, quit being a little wimp. We
Mm.
say that to ourselves all the time. We're like nervous. We're just like, just quit being a wimp. And you're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to do it. And
Yeah.
if that works, then great. Like there's no one method to,
Mm.
to to ground yourself in order to live your life,
Yeah.
you know? And that's what I explored through Hole in My Heart. Is throughout the story, Eon encounters certain individuals who represent a different method to becoming whole.
Mm.
Maybe he can just bully himself into like just ignore these feelings of emptiness and just be happy, and that doesn't work. Oh, maybe I'll just explore imagination and just live in the fantasy world. Oh,
Mm.
but that's too isolating. Maybe I will find love and use a lover, a person, a tangible human being, and put the responsibility on them to fill this hole in my heart. And that, of course, completely blows up in his face, because that's dependency, and that's still, there's, it's just a band-aid, right?
Yeah.
Putting a band-aid on the experience, you're not actually dealing with it.
Mm. So almost the best question to ask when you're finding yourself divided is like, hey, what's going on? Just like, hey, like, how are you?
Yeah.
I think that's another question I ask a lot, and I do think that's more effective than the shut up one, because it's just like, because I feel like you almost have to develop the two characters until they're one again.
Uh-huh.
Like, and if you just ask like how you're doing, then they both maybe have a chance to like say why they're acting up.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is that they are loud in those moments, right? They're loud because like I'm just trying to like walk up to the studio, right? I'm just walking up the stairs and they're like and so I'm like, hey, 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 what's up? Like, how you doing? Like, I'm just walking up the stairs here, you know? And like I'm hoping I can like make some chord sheets for my songs today because someone like wanted to learn a song.
Uh-huh.
Are we gonna be able to manage that? Like, how you doing?
I think that's incredibly healthy for you to do as a person. I think it's incredibly healthy and beneficial to look at your mental processing and think of it as characters that are at odds with one another.
Mm,
And it's very meditative to sit down and to like almost imagine yourself. You can close your eyes and imagine you're in a room with this
mm,
experience. In
mm,
fact, I've done this plenty of times, and it sounds like you have too. But if I'm experiencing, say, anxiety and it just won't go away, especially with the big earthquakes that happened like just last year, and even the recent earthquakes,
yeah.
didn't hurt anything, but definitely scared me a lot. I was experiencing tons of anxiety to the
Mm,
point that I couldn't work because I was just scared of dying. And I just sat down, closed my eyes, did some slow breathing, and eventually asked myself, I said, my intention is to interact with my anxiety
yes.
and just let the mind play out this scene. And what played out in my mind is I saw me, my ego, and then I saw another character that was my anxiety. And he just so happened to manifest as this redheaded character from Final Fantasy IX, whose name I can't remember. He's the guy with the crazy claws, but his hair's like down to his waist, and oh, he's awesome. But for whatever reason,
It's
this
happening.
he was like the manifestation of my anxiety, and I had the opportunity to interact and see what was going on. And
Mm,
he's like, well, I'm afraid of dying. And I'm like, okay, well, how can we fix this? And lo and behold, another character comes in, and I'm
whoa.
like, whoa, who's this? And it's this gal,
Yeah.
another character from another narrative fictional story I've been developing.
Yeah.
I've always seen her as sort of my dream girl.
Mm.
She's always that love interest in like the fantasy story I write. And
What's
she
her
comes
name?
in, her name is Celia.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, her name is Celia. And Celia comes in, she's looking at this anxious, big hulking redheaded dude who is my anxiety.
Yeah.
And she tells him, you're already dead.
Whoa. That's
And
right.
he's just like, what? And, my ego, who's like watching this scene, is
Yeah.
like, what? And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I thought about that a lot. I'm like, I'm already dead.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm like, I don't know why she said why. And, of course, this is all just this fabrication of my imagination
Yep.
that's playing out. And I swear to God, Nathan, like the veil of the anxiety from these earthquakes literally just lifted.
Yep.
For
Yep.
whatever reason, the idea that I was already dead,
Yep.
just because why,
Yep.
if you fear death and you're already dead, then there's nothing to fear.
Yeah. That's right. Dude, that's literally been my response to the pandemic fear. And I found myself saying it before I even like processed it. But like someone would just be like afraid or talking about it or whatever. If it was like a close friend, right? Like someone that knows that
Yeah.
I say ridiculous things, I would just be like, "Hey, we're dead. We don't have a chance." Just like all the way, right? Just yo, I'm dead. Like I'm gonna buy this microphone or whatever, right? It's just like because I do feel like we've been dealing with that, and it is important to be sensitive to that, right? Because like it has increased a lot. I think especially with how wrapped up people can, like myself included, just how wrapped up we can be with specific daily tasks every single day. That like time can just keep going, and we can forget about the big picture. And the big picture is that we're dead.
We are mortal. We are all on the train to the same destination. And it's funny because I think some people could hear this and be like, wow, these people are so morbid. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're like dead already. Like, does that make sense? But from my perspective, and in what sounds like yours, this to me is sort of a statement of appreciating our mortality.
Yes.
I am not here permanently. I will die.
Yes.
And that for me gives me a lot of courage to
Yes.
take risks, to go out, to not fear constantly,
Yeah.
because fear is going to hold you back. And it certainly holds, there's certainly logical fear, but fearing an earthquake,
Mm.
fearing, I mean, even the pandemic to an extent, it's like these are almost invisible things. Now, I'm not saying just go around without a mask or like, don't have an emergency preparedness kit for an earthquake, because those are things you can do. But I'm saying for the people who are still experiencing overwhelming anxiety
Yeah.
despite following the safety protocol, they're still scared.
Yes. Yes. And that fear can lead to violence, and that fear can lead to all kinds of negative things that could have actually been avoided, right? If we weren't in that like emotional and mental state of fear, right? And like you said, like I think fear is really good if it gets you to do research and it gets you to prepare. But once you've done everything that you can control, you got to get rid of it. You got to find peace again. You got to settle again, and find love again, right? Love for yourself and for those around you. And I think it's hard to like love and be afraid at the same time.
And you just made me think of a great point. What I'm trying to remember the context of how I thought of this, but love and fear are actually just energy,
Hmm.
and they're one and the same.
Whoa.
Don't know. I'm trying to remember. I was having one of my deep philosophical musings, and because if you think about it, if we fear things because we love,
Yeah.
and we you can love to fear and you can fear to love.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of a good example. Like, I'm fearful of the earthquakes, because I love myself
Wow.
and I don't want to be hurt.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I don't know if this works, but
I feel it.
it's like I love that I fear the earthquakes because it motivates me to live life to the fullest because we never know when it's our time.
Yes.
So that's also another very like bizarre and outlandish concept that love and fear are actually just energy and they do the same thing.
Mm. Yeah, I think that that's true. I think that that makes sense to me. I think if your fear turns into like you were talking about earlier, like crippling anxiety, um, or yeah, I think there's a point, when we can be irrationally afraid, where you're no longer like operating in love. But I do see what you're saying with like, yeah, like, because well, fear can mean different things, right? I mean, people talk about fearing God, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
like a thing, and a lot of people will describe that as like being in awe of God or respecting God. That's like the fear of God. That it's not so much the like, oh my gosh, right? He's gonna strike me at any moment and send me straight to hell.
Right.
Maybe it's for some people, but for most people that I've talked to, it's more like no, like it's just you hold God like so highly, you respect so much that like it's fear, and that's the word that they've used biblically for that, like authority. Yeah, man. Woo! Look at us go.
Look at us go. Just straight into the Bible.
Dude, check it.
Oh, nice.
You ever get into these?
Are you kidding me? I have 3 of them.
Yeah, you do. You're the guy. You're the guy with the singing bowls.
A little closer to the microphone. Mm.
Oh yeah, I usually have like a condenser, so that thing just picks up the whole room. But I was not gonna turn the air off today, because it's like 112. I saw 112 degrees in my car. I was like,
Gosh.
what?
Yeah, I have my fan on right here too. And I went jogging last night at like 10 o'clock because I'm like, oh, now it's cool. Nope.
Still.
Jeez. My God. Yeah, it is. I typically like hot weather, but once it breaches 95, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, I didn't even know today because I got into the studio pretty early. Unfortunately, they have the AC running here. But like, and then I went out at like 2 or 3 p.m. just to like drop some stuff off. Dude, I have like a crazy weird body where it takes like a lot for me to sweat, which I'm very thankful for.
Uh-huh.
I was sweating. Like it was a thing. Yeah, like I was like, wow, it must be really a time.
Yeah, can you give me some of that? Because I'm the opposite. I can literally just think about something and sweat.
That's weird though, because so you sweat, but you also like hot weather. I've never heard people that are
I like hot, dry weather because it wicks my sweat away.
I don't think it's dry right now in Southern California.
It's not. It does feel like there's
It feels
definitely,
thick, doesn't it?
yeah, it's a gross hot.
It's like I think the humidity is pretty high right now too. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
That's the bane of my existence is humidity.
Well, and it's a good thing you're over here on the West Coast then.
That's exactly why I left Illinois to get the heck
Ooh.
away from that.
Well, dude, I really want to get to your um we got time, whatever, but I really want to get to your what you have prepared.
Oh,
And
great.
this is yeah, I really want to get to this second thing that you've prepared for us today. Go
Heck yeah,
ahead.
dude. Oh
Go
my
ahead.
gosh.
Tell us about it or whatever.
This is first off, I'm so excited because this is like fresh. I
Wow.
literally finished it. Oops, there goes I finished this song yesterday.
What?
Um I wonder I'm like, what's going through my head right now is college creative writing class where, after we've all completed a short story and we're about to read it in class to each other for constructive criticism, everybody would immediately go into prefacing their story.
Yes.
And the teacher said, no,
Yeah.
read. So therefore, that's what I'm going to do. And then we can talk.
I love that.
Why, why would I need to
I love that.
put pre-concepts?
You know what they would say in the composer world?
What?
Because everyone's always like about to show them the sequence, right? About to show them like the music and everything.
Uh-huh.
This one guy would always come into the room and I'd be like, oh, so this, and he'd be like, dude, where do astronauts go? And I'd be like, what? He's like, where do they go? I'm like, space? And then I'm like, oh, he wants me to hit spacebar. Okay. And then I would play the song.
All right. Well, I'm going to go where astronauts go. You
Ooh,
ready?
I love it. Go.
All right. Just give me a thumbs up or down if it's like you can't hear it.
Okay.
When your heart is ready, then love will come. When your heart is ready, just put down your shield and take the leap. That is how you fall. Though the rain will come and pour on you, you mustn't cover your head. Though the dogs will bark and bite your legs, you mustn't shoo them away. For the ego is so thin and frail, it wants to run and hide. But how can your heart spread its wings if it has no room to fly? When your heart is ready, then love will come. When your heart is ready, just purse a whistle and sing your song. That's when love you'll find. Though the dagger's point runs sharp and deep, you mustn't fear the blade. Though the end seems nigh and tears run dry, you mustn't close the gate. Because love's the door into your soul. It wants to hold you close. Now bare your chest and stand this test, so your heart is ready for love.
Dude, I don't think I've clapped for someone in 6 months.
I hope that sounded okay.
Oh, it sounded great. It was worthy of applause. Oh, I
Nice.
miss that. I miss people clapping for each other, man. Dang, I miss that. That's hard to get at Republic of Pie too. So man, when people would clap for people, it was, you knew, man, they struck a chord.
Wait, the Ateliers, you guys had a huge applause every time.
I just mean like in general, because usually people have like a few people, and like most of the time, yeah, like people are just chilling, like people playing like kind of background music for people,
No, for sure.
Yeah, and so just in general, it felt like sometimes like like I would start it, the sound guy, I'd be like, go, 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 and then like the place would kind of. But anyways, dude, wow, yeah, man, you wrote that yesterday, or you
So
finished it
I
yesterday?
started writing that Sunday, and
Sunday.
I finished yesterday. Yeah, I wrote it. Um, I came up, and songs and a lot when my writing process, they always start with a lyric.
Yeah.
And that one, when your heart is ready, then love will come.
Mm.
That struck me, and from there you just start like. Then I'm like, oh, this is a waltz, in 3-4 time, dun 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 dun, and yeah, it's I love it. It's so
Yeah.
fun, and thank you for that was my first time ever getting to perform it.
What?
Yeah, I have a couple love songs, and they're just total, like random. Like I think down the line, I will eventually have an album of these sort of ballad love songs,
Yes.
and it's always, always, always because I'm exploring the dating world again, and boy, it is just brutal. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's like it's such a roller coaster because relationships are just so enriching
Mm.
and so incredibly worth the effort. But by golly, is it also just some of the most pain Sam Vess has ever felt?
Yes, dude. Just two personalities just colliding. Yeah, dude. It's a wild time. That song, man. I'm excited about that song, dude. It is fun. I found myself smiling, you know? And but it is also like it seems like a pretty deep, like thought through topic. But
Mhm.
the way you express it is just like I'm smiling. Yeah. I like, dude, your register is higher with that song than I feel like a lot of stuff in Hole in My Heart. Is
Mhm.
that normal for those love songs, or was it just this one?
Yeah, if it's a single that's a 3-minute piece, I feel more comfortable going to my higher register.
Yeah.
After half an hour of singing straight, I can't hit those notes.
Yeah.
And yeah, Hole in My Heart, I mean that's just nonstop. So um there's not too many points where I go up to like my high A or whatever.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate you saying that it was fun because I think ultimately I was intending to create a fun and joyful piece
Mm.
because this was definitely it was written for me. I wrote the song for me, and uh, I think my intention for myself was to I needed to tell myself don't retreat
Yeah.
because that's always what I do is I go to the extent of my comfort zone, perhaps go on a date, get, ghosted, uh, have a phone call, then I never heard from them again.
Mm.
And I get to that point and, I experience it as this just awful, very painful rejection. And then I'll immediately retreat and, zero dating, zero attempts to form any new relationships
Mm.
for months or years even.
Yeah.
Like that's just how terrified and how much it hurts. And I'm a 31-year-old man now, and I'm like, look, this is not gonna just go away. Like I'm not gonna grow out of it. You grow out of your habits by intentionally pondering them and pushing yourself, just like exercising. You just work out your muscle. You kind of strengthen your the toughness of your hide and your ego. So like yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I've probably gone on 3 dates in the past month, and just been so much fun. But at the same time, I'm completely on edge
Mm.
because I'm at the extent of my comfort zone. Because for me, And I think for many people, a relationship in the significant other romantic sense is such an indicator of your self-worth.
Yeah.
And if you feel, well, if I feel like I have been rejected, then I feel like it's a statement on my self-worth.
Yeah.
And that is not a fair thing to say. It's also a very painful way to think about it. And it's the type of thinking that will get you to be a hermit and not explore dating uh,
Mm,
for potentially permanently. And it's something that if you do struggle with yeah, setting your worth
mm.
based off how another person thinks about you, then it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. That's it. Well, it seems like you got it, in that sense. It seems like you know what you're working through in real time. So it makes sense that you're on the date, but you're also like you have your boundaries. Like you're almost flexing because it could lead to the pain that you experienced before. You know that at any point you could see like how she views you or like would reflect that worth. So I feel like that's it, man. That's like the precipice. Is it the precipice? Yeah, like you're on it. You're on the brink of experiencing freedom in that rejection and in that acceptance.
Wow. I mean, I certainly hope so. It's a lot of work, and it's very painful, and uh, that's why I wrote the song, to try to treat it more fun, and not put so much emotional weight into, perhaps you just never talk to somebody again. And then, as much as I am conscious of my habits, it it just still hurts. Like for instance, I went on a date with a gal. She lived like a block away from Marina Del Rey. Actually, the beach. She lived in Marina Del Rey, a block from the beach.
Let's
And
go.
we just had this incredible date. Spent time at the beach, hung out at her place, and I was just like, wow, like this was like the best first date I ever had. And I never heard from her again. And
Yikes.
I couldn't believe it. I was just like, wow, like, what happened? Like from my perspective, it was great. So it's and so I had to tell myself with the song, I said, don't close up.
Yeah.
Don't don't close the gate.
Yeah.
Don't cover your head. Don't shoo the dogs away and all these things that your mind is doing to you, because how can the heart fly
Yeah.
if it's stuck in the room?
That's right. But it's I don't mean to laugh because it's crazy, but it's laughable that people can be that good at deception. That's what I'm laughing at, right? And like miscommunication.
Okay, so who's deceiving who? I think I know, but just for clarity, I don't
This
want to
is what
assume.
this is what I think could help is she's deceiving you. Like, dude, if you're not gonna talk to someone again, like, yeah, girl or guy, have the decency to be like, hey, I'm not gonna talk to you again. And then don't talk to them. If you just communicate it, then all of those expectations, all of that pain doesn't have to be invisible. It's direct. And that's decency. That's like what humans need, in my opinion.
So I have a question for you. Your thoughts. I haven't asked too many people on this. And so what happened was we had this fabulous date. We did text for another month, and then it was just crickets. And
Mm,
my instinct was just to be like, oh, call her, text her again. But my intuition and my 31-year-old self knew that this is not going anywhere. Like, she's
yeah.
not interested.
Yeah.
I so my question is, do you think that I should have reached out and gotten clarity and closure and said, hey, just wanted, I didn't want to assume anything. Were you still interested in dating, or is this just a no? Um, because that's what I have at this point, just assumed, like deleted her number and all that. So
But like
I,
just that you had to delete her number. I mean, I've been there, man, and like I'm currently, right? Like I currently go through certain things where like you're in so much pain already that you have to delete a number, and then you kind of know the number, so you when you see it, right, when you see it again, you're like, oh, that area code probably her. And then you might like re-save the number because you're like, hey, maybe she does, like want to keep talking. Like I feel like we've already gotten to a area that was avoidable.
Mhm.
I don't want to go there again. Like I don't want to ever get to the point where like I'm so like like the attachment is that strong where I would delete their number.
Mhm.
Like I get why that is a healthy thing, and that sometimes like we need that, because it's just too painful to see it, or it's like too hard to not reach out. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why I've done it, right? It's because like I didn't want to text again, or I didn't want to call. And emotional states, sometimes you're in a different emotional state and you're just like, I'm just gonna call her, but then like you regret that later or whatever. So I get it, but it's like, why is that happening? And I think that's happening because of just miscommunication. But maybe both parties don't know exactly what they want, and so
Mhm.
maybe it's unavoidable in that sense. But I feel like if we all just knew a little bit more about what we want and communicated what we wanted, we could avoid those things.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, Nathan. I think communication is what will solve, to a large extent, the current heartbreak and distress I'm experiencing revolving around relationships. But that, alternatively, or I should say, that's why this is so important. That's why it's so important to not retreat. Don't go run and hide, because I believe that one of the greatest ways we have as humans to grow
Yeah.
is to be in a relationship. Either
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't need to be a really romantic type, certainly friends, certainly I've grown knowing you, but oh man, specifically significant others in the romantic sense, because the closer somebody gets to you and learns about you, you have to look in, as they see you, you are seeing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you just pointed out so eloquently there, I did not properly really communicate with this person, what my needs were, what I wanted. And and so that's kind of left me hanging in limbo of like, I really never said what I wanted. She never said what she wanted. And now I'm just assuming, well, she just wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though I delete her number and just kind of like, well, that was that. It doesn't, why am I still having trouble sleeping? Because I'm like, ah, dang,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's the heart still has experienced the trauma and needs to heal,
Mm.
and perhaps it is avoidable. I I think it could. I think a lot of this could have been avoided had I
Mm.
had better communication on my needs. But you know, I could beat myself up and be like, ah, darn, I'm so dumb. But we're not perfect.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no there's no
Yeah.
textbook for this. You just live your life and do your best you can, and uh, gotta smile. Make a lot of mistakes. Make them quick.
Write a song.
Write a freaking song.
Like
Oh my
you
god,
did.
I love it. Oh,
Yeah, you killed it, man. I mean, you learned and you grew through that experience so much that you're singing about it now. You're sharing it, and then we're talking about it. And I do think the male like female dynamic is really complex and like confusing. Maybe it always has been, but like at least before there were like certain expectations on the male and like maybe expectations on the female, and so there were some of those like rules in place about like roles and things. And right now, not saying it's like a positive or a negative, because I believe that, right, humanity, I need to believe that humanity is moving in a positive direction to keep moving in a positive direction myself. And so I believe we're moving in a positive direction, but I do think the roles between like man and woman or any relationship are like very complicated, very complex. And there's not necessarily any concrete thing where it's like, okay, the man is supposed to like call now, or
mhm.
like or like, right? It's a lot of gray area. And I think, because who knows, like, it's as great as, like, she could have still liked you, but she was just waiting to see what kind of man you were, or
Mhm.
like what kind of person you were. And like, and then like you didn't reach out, and then, right, like it could have been as great as that, and that might even be the thing in your heart that's like, wait, was there something I could have done still, or is there something I still could do to make
Mhm.
that work? But then on the other spectrum, it could have just been like, yeah, that's not what she was looking for, right?
That's a maddening thought to me. And maddening meaning like, I'm terrified of, I don't know what I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe she was waiting for me to reach out. But um, I think that's where it came to my intuition. In fact, I have a postcard posted right up there on my wall. It says, I'm sick and tired of scorning my intuition. Intuition is that gut feeling you have of this is truth.
Yeah.
And my experience when I have scorned it and act against my intuition, it has not ended well.
Hmm.
This was my intuition. This is what my gut told me. My heart didn't want to believe it. My heart wanted to, start chasing and pursuing again. Um, but I think ultimately I just had to trust my intuition. And to your other point, the roles have changed. I, I, it's so fascinating to think about relationships in the grander scheme of history. Like there's a book I've been skimming through called Sapien, the brief history of humankind.
Yeah.
And there used to be like women were like, is like caveman days. Women would have multiple partners, we call it polyamory now, but
Yeah.
essentially a woman would sleep with multiple males, and they believed that for every guy they slept with, their offspring would acquire his strengths.
Hmm.
And also when that child was born, because it was ambiguous who the true father was, they thought no, they were all part of the creation of this child, and they
Wow.
would all raise that child together.
Wow.
Think of how crazy that is.
Wow. Just
That
sleeping with the whole Lakers team.
you just, I mean, this is a very bizarre concept, but like this is history. This is where we have come from. Like
Hmm.
it wasn't always this, one-on-one, a man loves a woman in this small isolated family. We were tight-knit communities.
Yeah. 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 It's very diverse. Yeah. And I think it's impossible for us to like receive all of history, right? So it's so much easier to believe that like, oh, it's always been a certain way, and this is the way it's supposed to be, and this is like the right way of doing things, right? I think we get caught up in those things because it's easier to remember like one thing rather than like that there's just so many different ways to live with the biologies, right? Like that we've been given. Humanity, the biology of humanity is so diverse. Yeah, dude. And so I feel you with that. And I'm definitely advocating for like direct communication, because I think if we're to take it outside of that world, right? It's like, okay, I have my gut instinct is to become a songwriter, right? And then and I so I start choosing to do that. I start pursuing that. And then right, I start hearing from like one side, like, hey, you're not going to make any money doing this, right? Like I start getting information, right? I can't just become a songwriter full time because of that gut feeling. Um, Now it's going to be hard to like get away from that gut feeling. That's going to keep coming back as it has. But now that I've collected information like, hey, money is tough. Hey, this could be the biggest adventure of your life, right? That's another thing that I've gotten. But like those are like the biggest two things, right? Like this, like you might live in a van, right? This A lot of successful songwriters are doing van life right now. Um, and I'm like, that's me, right? Now that I have that information and I'm like, hey, now, and I'm choosing consciously that I might not live a comfortable, secure, financially, whatever. Now I'm like, okay, like I can still choose this path and I can pursue it 100%. But I needed to have that information because if I were to test that part of my life, that's like, I want security, I want a car with air conditioning, right? I want like these things that most people have. That most people, it's not like, oh, get a house. Like, okay, just like work for 5 years in a corporate job. You got yourself a house. Like, you save 70 grand, boom, you can get your house in Southern California. For me, it's like I'd probably have to live in a van for like 15 years to buy a house at the rate we're going. But it's like, okay, I can consciously choose that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't sweat. I can live in a van. I can be in a bottle. Like you make those decisions and then you're like, okay, cool. This gut feeling, this is the closest thing I have to what I want and to who I am. I can go. And so I think in the same scenario, we can have that gut feeling, but then we can get information. We can actually get closer, like facts. And I think a way is know what she wants. Like we're back to that, and just like because it might be a gut feeling that I was made for this woman and she was made for me. But if I just ask her, hey, do you think you were made for me? Because I think I was like, I'm already there, right? Like, I'm actually already there. I'm saying in my head, like, I was made for this person. And I'm singing, I was made for this person. And when I share that song with her, right, it should also be like, hey, are you at all in the mental space of like, you were made for me or I was made for you? And if not, then like, I got to start letting go. I got to start letting it go now, right? Like I can't expect her to change emotionally or mentally or physically or anything.
Right. I love talking to you, Nathan. You're so much fun to talk to. Um, I have so many thoughts right now. I'm like, which one do I choose? Um, I just something that this woman told me, that the same woman I told you had the greatest first date, then it was crickets. She had a philosophy, a life philosophy she shared with me right off the bat, which was good things are worth waiting for.
Yeah.
Good things are worth waiting for.
Oh
And,
no. Oh no.
and so I'm like, well, geez, if I just take the medicine she's dishing out, I'm going to wait for her to call me because, look, dude, I put in the effort. Her birthday was last month.
Yeah.
And I sent her a little custom musical birthday piece because I'm Sam Vest and I'm incredibly extra. So I composed a little ukulele ditty and I recorded it and I sent it to her. So she's
Yes.
got it for all time. And if she doesn't, she probably, I don't know. If she doesn't delete it, she's got this cute little video for her birthday.
There you
And
go.
she goes, oh my God, so cute, lol. And that was it.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and then nothing. Like
Hmm.
like whereas before, like we definitely had steady communication.
Hmm.
She had friends visiting from out of town at that time, blah blah blah. So I don't know. I think I refused. I believe that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
We don't just meet people. We meet people for a reason.
Yes.
I choose to believe this because if not, then life would just be so frivolous and empty to me. Like I met her for a reason. She told me that for a reason. Good things are worth waiting for. Why? Does that mean I should just kind of like trust my intuition and wait for her to reach out? Does it just mean this was not the person for me and I should just keep waiting till eventually I do find someone? I don't know.
Hmm.
It, and then to your point, which I also really like, of like, bro, just direct communication, communicate your feelings, sing her this song, ask her, are you in the space to like, how you so wonderfully put it, like where you're made for me. And I've done this before. I have.
Hmm.
Uh, there's certainly been women throughout my life in recent years. I didn't really actively get into dating till I was like 26,
Yeah.
actually. I'm
Okay. Yeah.
31, so I'm not the best at this. Um, but yeah, there was women I was head over the heels for years,
Yeah.
and I eventually just worked up the courage and just flat out told them like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
love you. Like, how do
Yeah.
you feel about me?" They're like, "Well, I love you. I enjoy you as a friend, but I don't love you in that way."
Yeah.
And so I've been there. I've done that before. And, what was my experience? Did I feel closure? I felt closure in a sense.
Yeah.
I still feel very strongly for these people.
Mm.
Uh, I think one of the most amazing things about relationships, and again, this is not just romance, this is also friends, is we all act as portals to ourselves,
Yeah.
doorways to ourselves. Whenever I'm around you, I access a whole nother portion of me.
Wow.
Whenever, and the more you enjoy someone and the closer you allow them, you're just busting down these doors to parts of you that you never even knew. And it's
Wow.
incredible.
Wow.
Such an opportunity for growth
Yeah.
and for self-discovery, but also just joy like you've never experienced. And conversely, the worst pain you've ever felt.
What?
I listened to a relationship counselor on YouTube was just commenting on how attraction is created
Mm.
and how if if human beings, when they saw someone that they're attracted to, if
Yeah.
they got a glimpse of the future, of the amount of pain
Yeah.
that person could cause them,
Yep.
we would drop everything and sprint like
Yeah.
a bat out of hell in the opposite direction.
Yep.
But human biology has a
Sorry,
has
go, go,
evolved.
go. Yeah.
Human biology has evolved us such that when we do encounter someone who biologically, like, our DNA can sense this is a good mate because this will provide a strong offspring, which will prolong the existence of the species.
Yes.
So our body drugs us. It
Mm.
literally amps us so full of dopamine and all the means to completely send. This is love at first sight. This is where this comes from. It's because our body is releasing this just unprecedented amount of feel good chemicals that is just, I mean, it's like traumatizing because now you associate those strong feelings with this person.
Mm.
And whenever you think about them, you start to feel about those feelings, especially when you see them again. And that's how our body traps us into pursuing someone,
Mm.
because somehow, like on some ancient level, I think in primal level, our bodies know this is a good suitor.
Yeah.
Perhaps it could just be the physical sense, but maybe there is a spiritual sense to it as well. So there's nothing more devastating to when you do fall head over heels for someone and they don't reciprocate.
Mm.
And you're just like, well, dang, like, how
Mm.
fair is that?
Yep. Yeah. That's it. I think you're right in exploring, like, our attraction is based on, like, the survival of humanity. I mean, it's that dramatic, you know. I mean, that's where our bodies are thinking that. And yeah, I think physically for sure, like, that's what you see. But I think people also look for spiritual elements or feel spiritual elements. But I don't know, I think you're right with that. It's like, it's the survival. It's like we want our offspring to be successful, to survive, and we want them to have the tools when they're born, you know. And like, we can train or equip them, but really it's like we want them to have the best start possible. And it makes sense to me. Like, you know, that makes sense to me. But it makes sense how much it would hurt when someone wouldn't pick you to you know get humanity on its next best foot, because you're like, oh shoot, am I not that?
And you got me feeling real honest and open right now. I'll admit I have not been in the proper space to attract someone. I think I've been very lonely and very isolated. So the relationship, my frequency is operating that of like necessity and like scarcity. And it's like I just want to hug somebody, like just give me anybody, as opposed to, let's say I am in a better state or a higher state of consciousness where I'm like, no, I'm looking for a future with somebody. I'm looking for someone that I can connect with spiritually and artistically.
Yeah.
I think if you do come at if you operate on that level, not only you're going to attract like, potential significant other who is on that state, but the friends you meet,
Yeah.
the things that happen to you. Like,
Mm.
I mean, when I met you, man, I was on top of my game. I had just, I was hosting the North Hollywood Drum Circle. I was just finishing up my musical. Like I was high up there.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the universe just lands Nathan in my lap.
Mm. Mm. There's something about being with motivated people. For me, this is what I'm learning like this past week and a half or two. It's like there's something really important for me about being next to being surrounded by driven, motivated, self-aware people. It just lights me up, dude. It lights me up, dude. Because it's like it's just I don't know. I think there are roles and it's really important to have that diversity of types of people and everything. Um, but I have this tendency to like to try and like fill people with who they could be or what they could be very easily, which I think like very naturally, which I think could be helpful if people are asking the question like, hey, who do you think I am? What do you want me to do with my life? Then like boom, I think that can be a helpful thing. But when I run into people that already know like what what they're doing and they're excited about it and they're driven, then like it's just so fast, right? Because I'm doing what I'm doing already, and then like this other person just doing what they're doing, and we don't even have to talk about it. We're just already collaborating, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm already writing songs like with them. I'm just already doing it. I'm not like, hey, like, dude, should I wait to like write a song? Like, right? So, anyways, that's just something I've been learning too, and I think like that will help me make friendships and everything, but also it will help me know like if they're that significant other like building a family. Like I just if I can surround myself with people that have a really strong idea of who they are and where they're going. It's helpful.
And I'll tell you, Nathan, everybody wants to be your friend. Every person
Man,
wants
wild.
Nathan Benedict in their life because you are just a ray of sunshine. And I mean, in the short time I've known you, what, like a year and a half at this point, like probably close to 2 years almost. Like, yeah, I mean, my quality of life has improved. So, I feel like you can have anything you want and you deserve it. You truly do. And I'm glad you are on the journey of like manifesting that. Attract those people who inspire you. Attract the people who are going to support your career's decision, your lifestyle, because it's not easy and it's not typical.
Mm,
Being a singer-songwriter, come on, this is like getting paid to make art, and not just any art, like not just any music. This isn't pop music.
yeah.
This is like deeply personal, like spiritual, like songs. Like this is art.
Mm,
This isn't just the catchy beat to please the masses or just hitting up whatever's popular and having the facade and the beauty and the glam and the glitz. Um, and I'm not saying that that's bad, but if that's not what you want and you want to have you kind of create your universe.
Yeah, that's right.
Sounds like you are. And the challenge is, there's society has all the expectations like, oh, okay, so you're, for me, I'm a 31-year-old man. Okay, do you have a wife? Do you have kids? Do you have a house? Do you have the white picket fence? Do you have the full-time job?
Two dogs.
And two dogs, two kids, and da da da. I have none of those things. So it's like, I don't know if I have not all the things. But anyways, like, but I also know that the vision I have for myself is to create a system such that I can express my art,
Mm,
because it's who I am. It's a necessity.
yeah,
It's what brings it. It's my purpose. It's
yeah.
what fulfills me the most,
Mm,
is to take the ideas in my head and share those
mm,
with the hope that others will resonate with that. And that is something you have too, because you have such strong vision and such passion. It's your life force. If you did not do what you're doing, you would perish.
yeah,
You would certainly not flourish. You would kind of shrivel up and just disappear, and probably wouldn't be very happy.
yeah, that's right.
So you've recognized your purpose
Yeah,
and are pursuing it wholeheartedly, and it's not easy.
yeah,
Not easy in the least bit.
yeah,
But by golly, like, you're doing it. And by all measures I've seen, you are incredibly successful.
mm, mm,
Incredibly successful.
mm,
Like, I hope you realize that. Just, the music you've produced, the network you've built, the skills you have, like, I don't see that success stopping anytime soon.
mm. Yeah, I think a tough part with this path, a question that I've been asking a lot lately is like, is it this question comes up, is it selfish? At what point does it become selfish? And it's a very determining question. Um, deterministic in a sense of like, if the answer to that is yes, then like the whole thing, dissolves. If the answer to that is no, then like it's the greatest life I could ever experience. So it's like, but you were right. If I don't do this, if I don't find a way to do this, I won't be happy and I won't flourish. And so then it's about, how do you do this as a service, not only to yourself but to your community, like ultimately the world, right? Yeah. And I think that's a question that I have found I need to ask every single day. And I need to make sure that every success that I have personally directly a second later leads to someone else's success. Someone else being inspired the way I'm inspired. Someone else laughing the way I just laughed, like immediately, right? Like, yeah. And I think that's why not playing shows hurts so bad. Because personally, like, there's some weird thing with the ego that I'm sure enjoys, like, getting clapped for and these things that happen. Like, but I know on the other side of that, like, it's seeing someone like in tears, or like seeing someone go home and like send a poem that they wrote that night, or create a musical that they wrote while we were playing. It's like those things that confirms it. It's like, hey, you went deeper into your own pain, into your own processing, and you found something and you were made better for it. But it wasn't just for you. You went down there, you found something, and everyone can see it. And now the world is made brighter. That's what helps, I think, us all continue to move forward, taking care of ourselves, is that it's not, come on, like,
Nathan, what's the first thing you do when you finish writing a song? And it's okay, the first thing you do, yeah, no, Joe, what's the answer? What's the first thing you do when you finish writing a song?
I send it to the person I wrote it about.
There you go. You
Sometimes it's like 5 people that inspire different lyrics.
know,
Now it's getting
uh,
better.
as long as that's the answer, then I don't think you need to worry a single bit about selfishness,
Mm.
because the second that thing was in a tangible, shareable form, you immediately shared it.
Yeah.
You gave it away. That's the definition of selflessness, is to give away.
Wow. And if it gets rejected, you know those aren't the people it's supposed to reach. But that's why it hurts, like going back to like, dude, you send your song to girl on her birthday, and like if that's someone that you're gonna spend a meaningful amount of time with, like she doesn't just say it's cute and then never talks again. Like it like goes to her soul and it like changes her whole day and she like does the laundry or whatever the heck she needed to do. Right? I mean that's what happens because you've seen it. Like you've seen yourself do like the one man musical and like people are inspired. People come up to you after. You're talking like so excited for an hour. You know its effect on people. And so I think the heartbreaking thing is like yeah, maybe it didn't have I don't know. That's coming from my personal experience of like me sharing my art with those people that I, feel like I fell in love with and um and it just kind of like falling to the floor, right? Like they just listen to it once and then delete it, something like that. Whereas then I know other people that their whole entire lives have changed because of that same song. So
Mhm.
then I have to choose. At that point I have to make a choice. Like do I keep investing in myself for these people that are being impacted or do I keep pursuing this one person that like it doesn't help?
Mhm.
But I'm attracted to this person.
Yeah, that certainly complicates matter. The thought coming to mind that I feel like sharing with you, I don't know if I've shared with this idea with you. This
Mm,
is a concept my older brother and I came up with, and it's the idea that there are selfish people, there
mm,
are selfless people,
yeah.
and then there are selfish people. Selfish, which is this merging of the two. And let me explain what that is, because you are what I define as selfish.
Got it. Okay.
A selfish person is someone who, anytime they feed themselves, anytime they allow themselves to take,
Yeah.
that taking and building up of themselves is immediately turned into a gift for others.
Mm,
Because when that person is up, they bring others up with them. And
mm,
I know for a fact from the day I met you, you
mm,
are a selfish person, because if Nathan, whatever state you're in, you're
mm,
bringing people with you because people look up to you, people follow you, people respect you, and they model their behavior after you and they interact with you. And so if you're feeling glum and down, it's immediately getting dispersed. But if you're
wow.
up, what's the first thing you do? You'll go put on a show and invite all these musicians at your old studio that's getting closed down. It's this completely free, incredible, wonderful experience. And you do that just because that's who you are.
Mm,
So a person like you needs to feed themselves, needs to be selfish, because
mm,
the reason why you need to be selfish in this regard is because your default is giving. That is your default. The
mm.
second it goes in you, you give it away whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you still feel like you're selfish.
Mm.
That's
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah. And then but just like the different types of people, that's a whole nother thing, man. It's been good, dude. It's been so good today. I'm so glad I have this is supposed to be a reoccurring thing. I think we've done like 20 now or something,
uh,
20 talks. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to like all of these, people again. And
mhm.
so I'm really looking forward to our next deep dive, dude. I mean,
Thank
we could just keep going forever. We were just about to open a whole nother can, dude. But I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's time, dude. And we've heard from you. We've heard from you, dude. That song was so beautiful. Your flute playing to start us off was just right there, dude. Straight to the core of the human soul and the heart. So, hey, dude, you're amazing. Stay inspired. Let me know, man. Let me know when you have another song to share or something. We could probably just do. We'll do another talk. You know.
do another talk. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for having me on. It's been so awesome. I haven't gotten to talk to you in forever. This
No.
was so much fun. I appreciate, this avenue to be heard
Mm,
and to share my music with you. And of course, I definitely think you've left me with some new thoughts that I can think about today.
ditto,
Really sink
friend. Yeah, we'll let it sink. All right, brother. Dude, all love, man. Can't wait to talk again.
All right, Nathan. Love you too. Bye.